have submitters in the waiting room. So, Ms. Clark, can we get started, please?
Yes, we're jumping forward a few spots, but the next church
many years ago.
Oh God, I don't know. Giselle James.
Why is it Sorry, can you just, sorry, we had some interference there. Can you just do that again? Ms. Clark.
We're just jumping forward a few submitters. The next speaker is submitter 3140, Giselle James on page 146.
Thank you very much. Hello, Miss James.
How's it going?
Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We have your submission. We've read it, and we'd like you to take the next 10 minutes just to tell us the highlights of it and allow for any questions if there are some. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Mayor Sanson and councillors. I'm not going to bore you with reading my submission as you have already done that, but rather highlight on some points as well as items brought up over the last 2.5 days of presentations, which I have been watching because I'm lucky to be able to work from home. I'm a pedigree dog breeder, Dogs New Zealand member, Dogs New Zealand and International Confirmation Show judge. I am also the Secretary Treasurer for the Hamilton Kennel Association, as well as Treasurer for the Great Northern Siberian Husky Club. Therefore, my passion is breeding health-tested pedigree dogs, showing and sled racing. There are 9,088 dogs registered to rural properties. Assuming all are special owner policy owners, that is $490,000 in registration fees. That is 60% of the income for dog control. Yet we account for 0.31% of their complaints. Seems us law-abiding rural multi-dog owners are funding a huge portion of the animal control budget used for the remaining 99.6% of complaints received every year. Seems like we should be pushing for more rebates considering our very, very low use of animal control officers' time. But you want to permit us if we have more than 2 dogs. Why? This is the question which has been asked many times and no logical or definite answer has been given, except it's another tool to be used in issuing infringements or for animal welfare. For 0.31% of the complaints, I'm still asking why? Who is driving this? The community or the council? 660 submissions have been received, excluding exercise areas. How many are in favour of permitting rural properties? Even Paula, who is not a dog owner, said in her submission yesterday afternoon she cannot find any evidence why this is required or what it's going to achieve. Council already has these tools in the toolbox, so to me the problem does not sit with rural multi-dog owners. As for welfare, Council already has the power to act if there are welfare concerns or call in the appropriate agencies. Information has been requested with the number of complaints involving farm or working dogs, which has been denied due to too much workload to find this out. However, for council to know without a doubt that there were 58 complaints involving 156 dogs and 7 rural properties, the details of the other complaints must be known. Otherwise, where do those numbers come from? It's a mathematical impossibility to know a certain portion of a certain number without knowing the entire number. To put this in context, there have been a total of 17,046 complaints in the last 5 years, and 58 are for multi-dog rural properties, 0.34% in 5 years. However, council wishes to permit these owners for welfare reasons. How are you going to handle the remaining 16,988 complaints without the extra tools of a permit for 1 and 2 dog properties or those unregistered dogs? Back in 2007, when this issue was raised and included farm working dogs in the permit proposal, federated farmers came up swinging against it and the proposal was dropped. Suddenly, the new proposal now excludes farm and working dogs and has the full support of federated farmers. However, when asked why they think it's a good idea to permit rural owners, they couldn't answer that and veered off into talking about reverse sensitivity and people moving into rural areas, moaning about farm noise. I can guarantee multi-dog owners are not going to be the complainants. We all live here for the rural lifestyle with animals and farm noise. Federated farmers say all farmers look after their farm dogs extremely well, and their vets will attest to that. I'm pretty sure my vet will attest to the fact as a multi-dog owner, I look after my dogs extremely well. So is this evidence for exclusion? We heard from Anna at the Animal Sanctuary that she takes in farm dogs that have been neglected on a regular basis, yet council maintains farm working dogs are well looked after. Tracy Oakes maintains most rural dogs are well looked after. So again, where is the logic? All dogs should be treated equally if animal welfare is the basis. If the farm working dogs are so well treated, then why are farmers against a property inspection and free permit within the next 12 to 18 months? because it's a stupid idea and a complete waste of resources. If you excluded gun dogs, pig dogs, hunting dogs, dogs in New Zealand breeders, agility and obedience competitors, fosters, rescue groups, they would also most likely support the proposal. That doesn't leave too many properties to permit in the end. The news article from 2007 stated council did not engage with any farmers, dog clubs, hunting groups, societies, or animal interest groups prior to asking for submissions. Here we are 15 years later, and the exact same thing has occurred, except it seems discussions have been held with federated farmers and agreement reached that they support this bylaw and be left out of rural permitting. In their submission on Monday, it was said, Alan, when we discussed this last week, so even if this was not an official consultation, there's most definitely an element of bias and discrimination against a group of owners with 0.31% of complaints per year and overwhelming support from federated farmers, even though they acknowledge the majority of councils around New Zealand have no limits on the number of rural dogs. Considering federated farmers is a nationwide group, why do they think rural dog owners in the Waikato district need permitting as opposed to other rural dog owners throughout the country? Maybe us multi-dog owners need to take on more retired working dogs, as we won't require permits for them, as Federated Farmers has requested. No permits for life on working dogs. Is this because some farmers retire to lifestyle blocks with a few dogs? So the reality is I can have 6 retired working farm dogs with no permit, but my 4 pedigreed Siberian Huskies will require a permit. If the hunting dogs are included, then my Parson Russell Terriers, of which I have bred dogs for dock work, private contractors for feral cat control, and other working purposes will also not require a permit. So the line starts getting very blurred. Every rural dog owner that has an SOP, for which we paid $25, has already had a property inspection, is fully fenced, and have at least the basics set out in the Animal Code of Welfare. Does this mean you have no faith in the staff that have carried out these inspections? 900 properties will need inspecting at 3 per day for 300 working days, which means one ACO will be removed from doing the real work in dealing with the remaining 3,518 complaints you receive per year. Where's the logic in this? There isn't any. Again, I ask, who is driving this? The community which you represent or someone on the council? One of the councillors asked for examples of councils where they have good dog control bylaw. Look at South Taranaki District Council. They go so far as offering all rural dog owners big discounts, as this is the group that does not cause animal control issues, even with unlimited numbers in dominant farming area community. The same for our neighbours in Matamata Piaka District. Unlimited rural ownership and then individual rebates for responsible owners per dog. Full rego, $118. No complaint, less 35. D6, working. Dogs New Zealand registered. You have to provide proof. $30 off. Responsible owner, $15 off, leaving a fee of $38 per dog for responsible rural owners, regardless of number. The next neighbour over, hierarchy, offer a rebate for owners with multiple dogs from the 4th dog up. It's $35 a dog, regardless, no conditions, no rural limit. Why does Waikato District Council think the multi-dog rural owners here are worse than those in our neighbouring districts? On the 6th of January 2022, I emailed a request for information under the Local Government Official Information Act, asking a few questions. I received an acknowledgement and then a reply saying WDC is to respond within 20 working days. This would have been the 28th of January after submissions have closed, but we are now further 18 or so working days later and still no information has been forthcoming. It does make me wonder if I'm scratching in a patch that has sufficient evidence to prove that permits limiting rural dog owners to 2 dogs is pointless, or that working farm dogs should be included. I live next to 43 Bone Road, Huntly. We all detest puppy farmers and animal hoarders, and in April 2021, 35 plus dogs and puppies were uplifted from this address when the owner passed away. She was known both to AC and SPCA. It was free to carry on breeding dogs that lived in pig pens with 3 to 4 to a pen or housed in garden sheds. There was no power or running water to the shed that they lived in as people, yet this was deemed appropriate for them to keep and care for 35 dogs. Unknown number of horses and sheep in such poor way that they had to be slaughtered. Were the dogs registered? If not, why not? If yes, were these dogs registered as working farm dogs, given the property is in excess of 20 hectares? If so, then there's excellent grounds why all dogs should be included in permitting for animal welfare reasons. What actions were undertaken? I'm keen to know how having a permit for this property would have made AC job more successful, because obviously it wasn't. I asked for actual scenarios explaining how having a permit would make a difference to the outcome of cases so we can understand the whys and see how these are going to work. I suppose with such a tiny percentage of cases to choose from, that may have made the task quite difficult. Considering council has withheld this information, I still require the answers to my official request, however overdue it may seem. I suggest council go back to the drawing board on unnecessary time-wasting permit proposal and engage in conversation with pedigree breed clubs, breeders, gun dog clubs, pig hunters, obedience, agility, dog trainers, boarding kennels, various rescue groups, animal sanctuaries, and other dog groups, and found out where the real issues lie and what they want to achieve, and how we as dog lovers can help. Engage, not alienate responsible, good dog owners. Even the SPCA, which deals with animal welfare, is against this proposal. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was just saying you had 1 minute left.
I had one more sentence. I pay for libraries parts. I don't even use dog parks. I have no rubbish collection. My rates go into a big pool, and I have no problem with that. So yeah.
Well, thank you. That was a very full summary. Are there any questions? It doesn't appear that there are, but thank you very much. I'm glad I wasn't writing that down verbatim, that we have it recorded.
I'm quite happy to email you a copy. I have it on computer.
Why don't you do that to the consult thing? Thank you very much.
I will do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Clark.
Up next, we have submitter 3314 Phil and Wendy Lang on page 24 of the supplementary agenda that was sent out last week.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lang.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members.
Thank you. Welcome. You're an old hand at this. Thank you for your submission. And as you're aware, you have 10 minutes to present the highlights of that and allow for any questions within. So it's all yours.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I put in my wife Wendy and I put in a very brief submission document, basically setting out a few reasons why we believe the other option for location of the dog exercise area is a better one. Perhaps the easiest way for me to explain the points that I want to make is if the committee members could look at the comparisons of the two areas that are at maps 28 and 29 in the comparison photo book. I don't know whether you've all got those in front of you.
Matt, do you have that and are able to put it up on the screen?
Possibly, I've got it, but
no, I've just asked.
Oh, sorry. So I thought that was to me.
I don't. I think possibly Bessie. Do you have the agenda open in those maps?
Sorry.
I might be able to share it from here if that's going to work, or if.
Sure. Matt, can you make that happen? Thank you.
No, that hasn't shared it.
Yes, we can see it now.
Oh, you got that? No, it's not showing up on mine, but it's okay if you can see that. So at map 29, this is the proposed exercise area at Te Awa Road. As you see with the green outline, that occupies pretty much the whole of the accessible flat area of that particular reserve. As I understand it, it would involve fencing the perimeter of that area outlined in green. At the moment, it's a very attractive open area. The whole frontage along the road, that's open. The back, which goes to the riverbank, that's open. People have their residential boundary fences to the north and south, but it's a very attractive open area. It's got the playground in the southeast corner. That's very well used and much appreciated by local people and by people who drive to it from further away. This area does provide the sole public access to the riverbank walk or track. There's been a well-developed and retained track down to the river to the west of this proposed dog exercise area. And the track along the riverbank goes for about 1/2 kilometre to the north, going downstream. Comparing that, it looks like it would be occupying the whole of this particular park. This park is used well by people, Te Awa Road and surrounding roads, sometimes public events. People have got a birthday. We've had 1 or 2 where there's been somebody local die. People gather here. And sometimes times like Guy Fawkes or public holidays, people will gather and spend their time together in the park. Very much a local place that's well used and well appreciated. Just comparing that, and as I understand it, the playground would go if this proposal is taken up. It's well used. There's people there virtually every time I drive past, and particularly in the evenings this time of year. There's kids in the playground with parents nearby, and other often older children will play around in the open area while the younger children are in the playground. The parking is over here. It's just unsealed, informal parking, about 4 or 5 spaces at the most. So that would probably have to be developed. And comparing that with what's shown in map 30, we've got the area which is near to the hall and the school further to the northwest. This is part of an extensive open space area that extends right through to Wiremu Tamahana Drive to the west. The sports grounds to the west of this particular open space. There's good sealed parking to the north associated with the hall, and very easy access to State Highway 1. As I understand it, this would be a fenced area forming just a part of the open space that's currently available there. And it wouldn't be displacing a playground or other existing facilities. It's one small component of quite a large public area around the hall, the school, the sports grounds, the commercial centre. It's part of an established and growing community area, very much the central development area for Tamahiri. There would have to be fencing put in here as well, but it's, I would think, less of an intrusion in this area than fencing of the Te Awa Reserve would be. Those are pretty much the points that I was looking to make. I'm happy to try and answer any questions that any of the committee members have got.
Thank you. That was very helpful. If you could stop sharing your screen.
Sure.
That would be great. And I see there are a few questions, so if we can just keep them quite short. Councillor Eyre.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you so much for a great submission. I just note that you didn't have any commentary at all on the proposed restrictions to dog limits on rural areas. Have you got any thoughts on that?
No, it's not something that
okay.
We've given any thought to, but thanks for the opportunity.
Okay.
Councillor Smith.
Thank you. Councillor Good was ahead of me.
You're okay. Sorry, you're showing up differently. Councillor Good.
Yes, hi Phil. I was just interested to know, there's been some discussion from other submitters on these proposals for the Tamahiri Dog Park, and I remember one in particular said they thought that the option 2 was really boring and didn't have a lot of trees and other facilities for dogs, and it was quite small. So I just wanted your opinion on that, whether you have a dog, whether you take your dog to any of these places, and the size of option 2. Just wondering about that. Thanks.
Looking at the 2 areas, just comparing them, I've got a view of them still, but you may not. They look to me to be similar size.
Okay.
Just looking at surrounding development. If you look at the, well, I'll leave you to have a look at that and compare it. I did have a look at that myself just before we came on, and they do appear to me to be similar size.
Okay.
But, it is less developed area, but the development of the or the natural scene at the Te Awa Reserve is very much what makes it attractive for its current use.
Okay.
I don't know whether that's having an area that's as treed and attractive as this is essential for a dog exercise area. I know that the surrounding properties, everything that's close to here, people have generally got a fairly generous size section of their own, and range, 8,000 square metres is about the average, the result of the country living and formerly rural residential zone rules.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Councillor Smith, your question? Sorry, we're getting close to time.
Thanks for that.
Following on from Councillor Gibb, that area that you're supporting, it's next to Lake John West property and goes across to the hall. To me, it looks like that could be doubled in size across to the hall, and building on the centralisation of the sports fields, the community hub and the lakes. And it's got that large oak tree, if I remember it's an oak. So would you be unhappy if that was actually extended and made bigger?
This is the one at Divine Road.
Yeah, next to the
next to the hall.
It would have parking. It's got the parking area and the lakes. People have described it as being small. If it was enlarged, would you support that?
Yeah, I'd still support that, and I think it would be even more suitable. Yeah, that would be a good option.
Okay, thank you.
We've exhausted our questions, and we're very close to out of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Lang. That was enlightening and helpful.
No, look, thank you all very much for the opportunity. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Right. Ms. Clark, do we have a next up?
We do. It is a submitter that previously wasn't going to speak but now wants to speak. I also want to note that she requested in her submission that her details be kept confidential.
Now, is that going to be right? So I'm seeing her name on the screen. Do you want to put it back in the waiting room?
Question. So what's the submitted number? Who is it?
3114.
Thank you.
So we don't have any way of blocking the name.
If she could take it off herself, Madam Chair.
Okay. Do we have another submitter?
Not currently, no.
Not currently. Look, I'm prepared to take a 5-minute break while you have that discussion with her. I'm just conscious if the submitter doesn't want her name on, want her details, we're putting it on a recording, and that's not really proper.
Madam Chair, that's her choice.
Is she aware that shows up, Ms. Clark?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Look, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Matt,